Most of us have dealt with some sort of negativity in our lives, whether it be in our childhood or continuing it on into an adult. But the problem becomes when you allow that negativity around you to start getting in your head. And then it gets even worse when you start talking negatively to yourself. We all kind of do it. I understand. It sneaks into our heads. But today we're going to give you 7 tips to stop that negative self-talk in its tracks. Today we're going to give you 7 tips to stop that negative self-talk in its tracks. Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Colleen. Let's get rid of that background noise real quick. And like I said, we start dealing with negativity in our lives from when we're a little child. I mean, we're told no constantly when we're little, and then we experience no throughout our entire life. So being told no and having negative things happen around us, and there's bad people. You know, I think it was explained to me once that bad people are like the weather. Sometimes the weather is good. Most of the time the weather's good where I live in Texas, but sometimes it's bad or it's really, really bad. And it's the same thing with people. So make sure that you understand that negativity around us is a normal part of life. The problem becomes when the negative self-talk gets in your head and you start talking to yourself that way. And negative self-talk is the number one issue that holds people back. This is your first time watching. My name is Colleen Hammond. I'm a former on-camera meteorologist for the Weather Channel, turned image consultant, coach, and mentor. I started to realize that if women only knew how easy it was to niche down on their style, that they would look and feel amazing. So I created a do-it-yourself style academy so that women could create their own style and walk out of the house every day with confidence, knowing that they looked amazing and they would feel fascinating. So if you find this content informational or supportive, please share it. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube so that you know when my other videos come out. So before you start thinking negatively, if you start thinking negatively, the wisdom out there, the natural, things that people will say was, well, just stop thinking those negative thoughts. But the problem with that is it's counterproductive, because if you try to not think about something, you reinforce it. You end up thinking about it more. So the best example I was ever given was, don't think about a pink elephant with lime green spots trying to climb the tree in your front yard or in your backyard. Don't think about that elephant. Just stop thinking about that elephant right now. I don't want you to think about the pink elephant with the spots trying to climb a tree. So when you try to not do something, you end up reinforcing it and thinking about it even more. So we're going to give you 7 tips that actually I wove in a couple of them, but I like the number 7. So we're going to keep it with 7 to help you stop negativity immediately. Number 1, you have to distinguish between negative self-talk and critique. So you can't walk around like Stuart Smiley, everything's great, and because maybe you did make a mistake, and the honest thing to do would be to unpack it and figure out what it is. So a self-critique of a situation is okay, but walking around saying, I'm just so dumb, I can't believe I did that, how stupid, geez, I feel fat today, recognizing the difference between, I made a mistake. How can I learn from that and not make that mistake again? What can I do next time to make it better? Distinguishing between the two is going to naturally lead to a better situation. So remember to keep that balance in there. So walking around saying, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I'm, whatever, is not productive. But if you are in a situation where you made a mistake or something happened that you can correct and do it differently next time, then that's a self-critique. So the first step is to distinguish between, is this helpful or not? Right? And do you find that balance? Here's like 1A. Do you find that balance between rewarding yourself for the things you do well? So making a reward list, right? Every time that you do something that's good. And I was on a conference, I spoke at a conference down in Australia, And I forget what they call it. They actually have a term for it in Australia where you just don't compliment yourself. So I'm not saying walk around and tell people all of your greatest accomplishments and your kudos, but to be able to recognize that you do actually accomplish some wonderful things during the day. And how well did you clean that toilet? I just remember when I was surrounded with 4 children and homeschooling and I was in the depths of being mom, that was sometimes, you do the best with the situation that you're given. And sometimes at the end of the day, it was like, I made a great dinner. Now, somebody might have fussed about it or complained about it, but I did a good dinner. I cleaned the toilets really well today, but rewarding yourself and recognizing your accomplishments and the things that you have done well, either today or in your past, is an important balance. So do you find yourself rewarding yourself more in your self-talk and saying, good job, great job, I did that today? Or do you find yourself saying, well, that was dumb, I can't believe I did that. Psh, how stupid, right? So start listening to yourself. Number 2, accept that you're going to make mistakes, because there's been how many perfect people ever born on this planet, right? If you beat yourself up when you fail, then you're in for a really rough road, right? So because you're going to fail, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to do things wrong, and realize that it's a gift. It's part of the human condition. You're not the only one. All of us make mistakes. All of us fail. All of us have tech problems, right? So lessons learned. Excuse me. I was trying not to cough. Lessons learned is how you should really look at it. You just found a way that it didn't work. Was it Thomas Edison? He found 9,999 ways to not make a light bulb until the 10,000th try. And then it finally worked. So finally trying to realize that it's not a failure, it's a lesson learned. All right, number 3, daily affirmations. And I haven't talked about this a lot because I still have that Stuart Smalley from Saturday Night Live thing, doggone it, I'm good enough, in my head. But I used to do affirmations. And all affirmations really are practicing being positive, practicing positive self-talk. So I was watching a show. Oops, sorry about that. Hit the microphone. I was watching a show on Masterclass, and it was about style. And it was this man who is recognized as a stylist, and he's a stylist to the stars, and etc. And before, they showed like a behind the scenes of him in the green room getting ready to go out onto the set. And he was like, you're good enough. They asked you to do this because you're amazing. And so even he was cursed with these self-doubts, right? And you look at somebody like that and you think, wow, he's at the top of his field, but he still was dealing with negative self-talk. So just seeing him standing in front of the mirror, I thought, well, you never outgrow positive affirmations. And as a cappuccino member in the Cafe Club, I have given you a list of 50 affirmations, just in general affirmations. And I think there's 25 affirmations listed specifically for moms on helping you be a better mom. And I'm an empty nester, and I found a lot of these, and some of them I wrote myself, but I found that these were really, really productive for me when I was a mom to be a better mom. So for your bonus in this particular episode for Cappuccino members, that's inside of your bonus section. So you want to repeat the affirmations, write them out on a piece of paper. Anytime you write them by hand, not type, but write them on a piece of paper with a pen or pencil with your own handwriting, it reinforces these thoughts. The other thing that I do, that you can record yourself saying these affirmations. And when you're recording it, you have to, and you can record it on your phone. I mean, where's my phone? Oh, here it is. You can just record it on your phone and record it into your phone, and then you have it recorded. Put on your headsets and listen to it while you're emptying the dishwasher. And of course, how you'd empty the dishwasher? Putting the pen in your mouth. Because a pen in your mouth for 1 to 2 minutes actually improves your endorphin release, and it forces your face to smile, and it makes you happier. So if you're listening to these affirmations that you have recorded in your own voice and they're in your head, being pumped into your earbuds, into your ears, into your brain, it also gives it more affirmation because it is your own voice. And so you're training yourself to think positively about yourself. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. The first time you do it, it feels ridiculous. You're looking yourself in the mirror. It's like, doggone it, you're good enough, right? But no, you're positive, you're uplifting, you're supportive, and thinking of all the words and thinking of your best self as well. What words do you want to ascribe to you as your best self? All right, so that's number 3, is working on those affirmations. Number 4, limit your time exposure to toxic people. This is huge. And if you don't have the top 10 toxic people list, or you haven't seen it in a while, I highly recommend you go and get the, oops, it's not letting me post it over here. Okay, so I'm trying to post it for there we are, the people on YouTube. There's people in our lives that are just toxic. And sometimes you can't get rid of them. You can't cut them out of your life because they may be a family member, but you can limit your exposure to them. You can develop strategies of how you want to deal with them. You can spend as little time with them as possible. And if you're already struggling with negative self-talk, being around negative people will reinforce that. So you want to limit your exposure to negative people and increase your exposure to positive people. So who in your life is positive that you want to be around, that's uplifting, that brings you joy, that affirms you and gives you compliments? With my grandchildren right now, my daughters have really focused on emotional intelligence and teaching them their emotions. Oh, you're angry. Oh, you're so happy. Teaching them to be able to label their emotions, and then remembering that it takes 10 positives to counteract 1 negative. So trying to affirm them and, celebrate the things that they do right. Oh, good job. I'm proud of you. Aren't you proud of yourself? Good, Jay. You should feel good about the fact that you did that. And don't you feel good? And so being around that, I realized, gosh, I need to start doing that more with myself and remembering to do that. Because of this whole pandemic, you forget about what it's like to be with people. So remembering what it's like when you're with people one-on-one, or when we're going to do our cappuccino members, we're doing our special cocktails with Colleen, our special Zoom call, our exclusive private club. Just being together like that, sometimes we forget to do those positive affirmations. And number 5, learn to see the good in people. If you're always looking and seeing negative in other people, no wonder you see negative in yourself. So if you try to look around and saying, instead of looking at somebody like, what an idiot, I can't believe they're standing in line and they're not even paying attention to the fact that they could be moving up, or the light is green, for heaven's sakes, honk honk. Who gave you a driver's license? So if you find yourself, those are mine. I get irritated with people in line. I don't like standing in line. Do you like standing in line? I don't know anybody that really likes standing in line. So I try to find productive things to do when I'm in line. But I get frustrated driving. So yeah, those are mine. I'm working on it. But anyway, if you find yourself being negative about other people, try to look and say, the reason that person's driving so slow is because, I had a friend that actually moved here from Europe, and she got on, we do 75 miles per hour on the freeway, and she's never driven over 45 miles per hour in her life. So she drove 45 miles an hour. And I said, girlfriend, that's dangerous. First of all, you can get a ticket for obstructing traffic. But second of all, if you're going to be, first, just don't get on the freeway. There's other ways to get around. Don't get on the highway. And if you don't want to do 75, stay on the back roads and do 45, right? So I try to remember that there may be something going on in that person's life. Or when somebody races by you on the freeway doing 100 miles an hour, you think, what a jerk, right? Or you can think, they might be on the way to the emergency room. So I've had to train myself in those 2 situations. Normally I'm really good about it, but in those 2 situations, I tend to be a little bit negative about people's intent, if you will. And I also have to remember, stay in your own lane. It's none of your business. It's what people do, what they say, how they react. It's none of our business. So we need to mind our own business, keep our thoughts to ourselves, and avoid negative thoughts. Number 6, negative thinking is a choice, just like positive thinking is a choice. So even though you've been bombarded with negativity your entire life, it's something you choose to do. Maybe it's a habit and it's time to break that habit. So choose to think positively. It doesn't come naturally. It doesn't come quickly, especially if you were criticized a lot or, grew up in a critical environment, which is part of my perfectionism, is that I was always told I could always do better. I was never acknowledged, hey, great job. It was always like, why is that an A-? It should be an A+. Or why isn't it A? It should be an A+. Why'd you get a 95 on that test? Why'd you get that one problem wrong? So there was always that focus on the small negative as opposed to rewarding the huge positive. It was like, I got 5 A+ and 1 A-. Where was the reward for the A+, right? So choose to think positively because it is a choice, but it does take work, especially if you've been surrounded by negativity your whole life. And finally, learn to strengthen your self-belief. A lot of negative thinking comes from or is caused by a lack of belief in yourself. So strengthening your confidence will help you overcome a lot of those negative self-talk behaviors. All right, so some things that you can do. Number 1, start using affirmations. And again, Cafe Club members, your bonus this month is, Cappuccino members is about 150 affirmations in there for you to choose from. So find 1 or 2 that you really, really like and start implementing those daily, multiple times a day into your activities. Number 2, start a negativity journal. So when you find yourself thinking a negative thought, stop, write it down. And then write down why you came to that negative conclusion. And sometimes we can't figure out the why, so then just write the reasons it's not true. Write down why that negative self-talk that you just said to yourself isn't true. And again, especially if you can do it by hand, works if you're typing it because it's causing you to stop and think about where these thoughts are coming from, where they initiated from, and how they got into your head. But counter them by telling yourself why they aren't true. And number 3, a gratitude list. Trying to remember every night in bed, put a smile on your face and think about your family in your life that you're grateful for, the people in your life that you're grateful for, the work that you do that you're grateful for, anything that you can think of. And also, if you want to learn more about this, below this, either on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever you're watching it, there are a list of books. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. And Shad Helmstetter has tons, and I could have listed all of his books, but I didn't. That is the first book I ever read decades ago on self-talk. Maxwell Daily Reader has 365 days of self-reflection and positive thoughts. Silencing the Lies That Steal Your Confidence. I'm halfway through that one. 365 Days of Positive Self-Talk is another real good one. Me, Myself, and Lies. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself is great. And of course, Brene Brown. Can't do anything about this type of a topic without discussing Brene Brown. The Gifts of Imperfection. So those links are included below and in the show notes. Alrighty. So hopefully those tips were helpful to you. Which one are you going to try? Which one are you going to implement today and start switching your thoughts from negative to positive? All right. I love you. We'll see you next time.